We love doing this so much, we're going to do it over again because we had some technical difficulties. We had no audio in the first show. Chris Gates said, listen, you need practice. Y'all suck at your job. You need to be better. And so he tested us. And so we did a whole 30-minute mock to get ready for the actual one right now on this late Sunday night. The Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC, Coca-Cola, Kinetic Credit Union, Houston Clinic. Richard, let's do it right this time, man.
And we are going to do it right. And last time you said I came with no energy.
None.
I am bringing the energy now because it's take two and it's a late night and I'm ready to talk sports. I've been waiting for this show all day today. And now we finally get to talk about what happened over the weekend.
No doubt. And we're going to be recapping where we were at Saturday in Troup County, Friday and Thursday. We'll also talk about some of the other games that happened from the other sports around the area. We drop our Georgia Alabama Sports Live Power Rankings. Can't wait to get into that. And then we preview what we got coming up this week as well, Richard. So we're glad that we'll be able to do that. It was a lot of fun here this past Thursday. I was at Houston Clinic, Houston Foundation in their library, and we're doing a monthly segment called Beyond the Sidelines with Houston Clinic, where we sit down with, doctors and trainers and talk about what they do on a daily basis for these schools, for these athletes, and help them overcome injuries or help them prevent major injuries. And the first interview was with Dr. Jake Gudger, his dad, who was my foot doctor back in the day, is a longtime legendary doctor around this area. He retired 6 or 7 years ago, but Jake does a great job talking about the history of Houston Clinic, how they got involved with schools, and talk about some of the preventive measures athletes can take to not, or try to, as at their best, avoid major injuries and stuff. So that just dropped today. Go back and watch Beyond the Sidelines of Houston Clinic. I sat down with Dr. Jake Gudger. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that interview, Thrift, and we are glad that the Houston Clinic is one of our sponsors, and they do so much for student athletes in the community to help them recover from their injuries.
No doubt. So thank you again to Dr. Jake Gudger. Thank you to Kathleen Gibson. Thank you to Mark Baker, Aaron Williams, and the entire Houston Clinic staff for being one of our presenting sponsors. They have done an amazing job with the schools around the community, and we're glad that they are part of what we are growing here at Georgia Alabama Sports Live. So let's take a quick break. When we come back from break, we know you're trying to watch us and the Falcons game right now. We're doing the same thing. We'll be right back. We have recap of what we did this past week, what happened around high school football on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long distance love. For the farsighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
Are you looking for a powerful new Chevrolet or GMC truck and a great deal? Check them out side by side at Glenn Smith in Opelika. Take your choice of new Chevrolet and GMC 1500 trucks discounted up to $12,000 off. Chevy and GMC heavy-duty trucks discounted up to $7,000 off. People from all over the USA save at Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. Get ready to smile.
We want to thank everyone that was watching the first attempt at this show earlier that commented on YouTube and Facebook. Normally we do a good job monitoring, but we were so energized by what we were talking about, we didn't do that. So thank y'all again for that were watching on YouTube and on Facebook. All right, let's talk about some of the games that we just did, including Saturday. We had the privilege of going up to Troup County for the first time, and the Tigers have one of the top teams in 3A. I think the number one team in 3A. I think they got the best player in the state, Garrison Edwards, who had 3 touchdown passes, 3 touchdown runs. He was sensational. This Troup County offense is averaging close to 50 points a game. They put up 49 on Mary Person, who's a region foe and a top 10 team themselves. It was a back-and-forth game. It was a classic. I want to first say thank you to Kevin Elkelberry, the voice of LaGrange, who keeps up with everything LaGrange College, LaGrange High School, Callaway, Troup County, and he was a part of our pregame special, Richard. He came on at halftime. He was great. Thank you again for opening your doors and allowing us to come and cover your athletes up there in Troup County. So that was want to say thank you to him. Thank you to Tanner Glisson. Thank you to Andrew Calhoun, the countywide AD, for, again, rolling out the red carpet, giving us the best space possible to do it, an elite-level broadcast. And thank you to my team, Big Cheese, Chrissy. It was just an incredible, hot but incredible day. We had thousands of views. We're almost at 30,000 now. Troup County showcased why they're one of the top teams in the entire state, and glad that we were able to be there and now include Troup County as a part of our coverage area.
Yeah, it was such an honor to be a part of the broadcast and finally get to call my first football game at Callaway Stadium. This community means so much to me. Working up in LaGrange for 6 years, I knew about the fan bases and how passionate they were for Callaway, LaGrange, and Troup County, and they put on a show. And Garrison Edwards had 6 touchdowns, 3 touchdown passes in the air, 3 touchdown runs on the ground. And they were up 21-0. They had a fake punt. Mary Persons was able to cut back. They cut it to 28-21. And it seemed like Mary Persons was never going away. And this is a very good football team they were facing. And now they are 2-0 in the region. And we're just excited that we're able to feature Troup County. There's a reason why they're ranked 5th in the state, according to Max Preps for the 3A schools. Still got a tough schedule with LaGrange and Sandy Creek on their schedule. But I think that this is a championship team, no doubt.
And they play in the toughest region in 3A with Sandy Creek, LaGrange, Mary Person, Upson Lee, Trinity Christian, Whitewater. I mean, it is an incredible 8 teams. So glad that we were able to get Troup County. We're going to try to get them later on in the season. And thank you again, everyone up there, for allowing us to be there. Big win for Troup County. Jeremiah Culpepper sealed the deal, and it was a bend but don't break mentality for that defense, and a good win for Troup County. And glad that we were able to be there again this Saturday, and they showcased as one of the top teams in the state. All right, now let's go. And again, glad we saw Garrison Edwards and Dr. Marcus Edwards as well. Let's go to Friday. And we did 3 games on Friday, including the oldest rivalry in our area, 2 of the most historic schools in our area. It was homecoming for Columbus. And how about the Blue Devils and Robert Peters? 3-0 to start the year, and they look like every bit the team that could make the playoffs. Big win over Jordan. They dominated, and they got a big one next week against the best team in our area, I think, in the Carver Tigers. But they go in 3-0. Big win against Jordan this Friday night.
Big win for the Columbus Blue Devils on their homecoming. Remember, they beat Jordan 17-13 last year, and it was fitting that this game was at Memorial Stadium. The 2 oldest rivals in the city of Columbus, the 2 oldest schools facing off against each other, and Columbus looks like they could be a playoff team. They have not made the playoffs since 2015 when Hussein Bassi, who plays in the NFL, he was on that team. But Coach Robert Peters has got his team ready. Andrew Smith, the 4th, has just been a dynamic dual-threat quarterback. But they're going to have their hands full next week when they have to travel down to Otis Spencer Stadium to take on Carver. Who would have thought? Undefeated Columbus going up against undefeated Carver next week. But, yeah, what a great win for the Blue Devils.
No doubt. And then the other game we did was Carver and Northside. I commend Coach Oropeza. One of the best coach games I've seen from anyone. They do not have the athletes to be able to keep up with Carver, and they knew that. So they said, all right, we're going to keep it time of possession. We're going to dominate that. We're going to dominate keeping the ball out of the hands of Sebastian Hurd and Watts and Caslin and Tarver. And so they kept it close. It was 13-12 late in the second half. They ended up winning 31-12. But I really commend the Patriots. That was one of the best played games I've seen from anybody this year. They looked like they were going to upset Carver at one point. I really was impressed by that Northside team. This team is going to, I'm telling you, they're going to shock Starrs Mill, Jonesboro, Harris County, somebody in their region. They're going to shock because they're such a well-coached team. Jay Jackson was great, and I really do, man. My hat's off to how hard Northside played and how well-coached they were in preparation for this game. So, again, pat on the back to Coach Oropeza. But on the flip side, Carver, they needed to learn how to win a game ugly because they've dominated every game in front of them. They're averaging over 50 points a game, and they do exactly that, Richard. They won with their defense, and they end up running the football and then just wore down a really good Northside team, 31-12. And Coach Jones said he needed his team to be battle-tested. They were that, and they take on undefeated Columbus High coming up next.
Carver was the hottest team coming in, averaging over 50 points a game. And I believe I gave Carver some bulletin board material, Northside bulletin board material, because I said that Carver was going to dominate. But Northside had a great game call with Coach Orpeza. That first drive, they took it and ran down the field. 10 minutes they ate off the clock. Even though they did not convert on a fourth down, they kept that Carver offense on the field. When Carver scored that touchdown, Northside got a pick six to make it 7-6. This game was 13-12 going into the third quarter, and just too much horses for Carver. I mean, with Jacoby Caslin, Kelston Tarver, and Zach Watts, they just ran the football. Sebastian Hurd was able to get a feel for the offense and come away with the win. I still think this Carver team is going to go undefeated and run the table. There might be some teams along the way that could give them some problems early on, but I think the depth of Carver could be just too much for him. Now Northside 1-3, and I was so impressed with Northside that I really wanted to add them into our rankings, Thrift, when we were actually going over our rankings. They still got to play Harris County. They play Mundy's Mill. They've got a pretty tough schedule coming up. I think they're playing Griffin, I think, and then we'll see what this Northside team does. But I do think this Northside team impressed me, especially with the way they hung with Carver.
So the Patriots lose to the Tigers, and then finally Russell County goes to 4-0, and they continue their incredible hot start, man. 4-0, 2-0 in the region, 56 points they put on Percy Julian, and our guy Bryson Riggins was sensational yet again. By the way, Chris Lucas, who's averaging over 108 yards per game, he's looking like he's going to have 1,000 yards on the year. Bryson Riggins threw another 3 touchdown passes. He's at 11 on this season. Lewis was great. Sterling, Stupins, and then, of course, our guy Jamari Burnett. He has been great as well. These guys are elite, and Burnett and Lewis, the senior Burnett, has already got 3 touchdowns on the season. Russell County looks like a team that could finish undefeated this year, Richard. They got some tough games coming up, though. They got the main one, Pike Road at home. That's going to be basically for a region championship. And they take on Valley on the road, who's 2-1 on the season, coming up in 2 weeks that we may be doing. But Russell County, big win on homecoming night. They go to 4-0, and Coach Griggs' team are looking like a top team in the state. And the Alabama Sports Writers poll, put them in the rankings. I am so sick of your poll. I'm sick of the disrespect we're seeing from East Alabama schools. Put them in the poll. They're a top 10 team. What are you looking at? The disrespect stops now. I'm telling you, if it continues, I'm not even going to mention your poll ever again, because honestly, this type of disrespect is not going to be tolerated for our schools anymore, Richard. Really impressed with Russell County.
Yeah, and on that Alabama Writers poll, they didn't even include Glenwood in the preseason poll last year. They didn't
East Alabama disrespect.
So they don't like East Alabama schools, and I don't understand. But with that being said, Coach Dylan Griggs has been the coach of Russell County since 2021. That first year, they took the area by storm, going 6-4. Even though they battled injuries, he feels he has got his team that can go deep. They went to the second round of the playoffs last year. I think this Russell County team could get to the quarterfinals or even the semifinals. A lot of great teams in 6A like Saraland, Clay, Chalkfield, Hueytown, Spanish Fort. But this Russell County team, I think, could go toe-to-toe with any one of those 6A teams. But I do think that Pike County or Pike Road is going to be a very tough matchup, like you said, probably for the region. They take on Park Crossing next on a Saturday down at the Gump, and then they're going to be on the road against Valley in 2 weeks. And who knows, we might make an appearance up at Valley to call that Russell County game against Valley. So Russell County, what Bryson Riggins is doing has just been phenomenal. It's been an overall performance by the defense and also with Riggins and his weapons, and they just mollywalked Percy Julian. And what a win.
Mollywopped.
Whatever. It's late.
It is.
That was definitely the bloodbath McGrath. Indeed.
You were going to call it. I
was waiting for you to say it.
It was the bloodbath McGrath, indeed, game of the week, and big win for Russell County. Then on Thursday, we were there for Spencer Green Waves. I've told you over and over again, do not write off Coach Kegler's team. They're 0-3, but the 3 losses are 2 of them are teams not even in their region. Carver's the other loss. They still have winnable games on their schedule, and I still think this team can win 6 or 7 and make a deep run in the playoffs. I'm telling you, CJ Starr, Fudge, Claude Ballard, they got a ton of talent on this team. Alec Rubio on the defensive line, I was never going to write them off like everybody else did. And one of my favorite movies, I said this on the broadcast, is Stomp the Yard. And in the Stomp the Yard, one of the scenes you see, who's that creeping in the window when they're doing a dance? You know who's creeping in the window? It's the Spencer Green Waves, and it's Coach Joe Kegler. And he's looking at every one of you that marked them dead because they're making their way. And they got a big win over Manchester, 29-7. The run game was there. The defense did not give up a pass midfield after that opening drive touchdown, and the Green Wave dominate the Blue Devils 29-7. The Green Wave are back. I never said they were for dead, and glad that we're going to see Spencer making their way back to a playoff contending team.
Spencer 1-3 on the season, 0-1 in region play, losing to Carver. Their next 2 region games against Jordan and Kendrick. I expect them to go 3-3 going into that game against Sumter County. I think that game against Sumter County could determine if Spencer is going to be second in the region and possibly host a playoff game. You can never count out this team with Joe Kegler and Elijah Fudge at quarterback, CJ Starr anchoring the defense. I mean, he was so great. He even scored a rushing touchdown against Manchester. They had 29 unanswered points after Manchester took that 7-0 lead. I think Spencer can run the table and win the rest of their games and make the playoffs and get onto a playoff run. You never count out the Spencer Green Waves. I know I did, especially when they started 0-3, but you got to understand that they're playing tough opponents like Luella, a very good private school up in Atlanta. Griffin's a 4A school, and, of course, their rival Carver. So big win against a very good Manchester team that went to the semifinals last year. 2 years ago, they went to the state finals, and what Coach DeMonta Prather has done has been fantastic. Manchester is still a great team, and I think they could be a playoff team as well.
Some of the other games that we have around the area, we'll throw up that score graphic, which includes, we'll start first with Glenwood. They won dominant over Childersburg, 49-12. Ryan Nelson's team with a big-time win. They go to 3-1 on the season. 2-0 in region play. They got Beulah coming up next. The A team and the game of the week is going to be there for this Friday, but Glenwood goes on the road to Childersburg for the first time and wins in dominant fashion, 49-12. Sumter County takes down Kendrick, 56-0. Kendrick kind of losing some of that luster they had to start the season 2-0. Smith Station goes to the Gump in Montgomery and loses to Carver Montgomery 47-0. Tough night for Blair Harrison and team. And here is, I think, one of the biggest wins of the weekend. Brookstone not able to let, and they didn't allow the big win last week to affect them this week in their preparation. Usually for kids, they get really high for one game and they kind of, get lose momentum. They kind of overlook the team they got coming up, including Southwest Georgia, a 2A school out of Damascus, Georgia. Richard, and this team did not lose focus. They go on and get a big win. You think this is one of those letdown games, not for Brookstone and Ian Headley's team. They go to 5-0. They win 35-14. They got off to a slow start, but able to kind of battle back and dominate in the second half. So big win over Brookstone, big win for Glenwood, and Kendrick and Carver get dominated.
Brookstone is ranked number 1 in the GIAA, and they got a big game against Stratford Academy, both undefeated next week. And then in 2 weeks, they might be still undefeated and taking on Calvary Christian. Calvary Christian, right now, they're undefeated. I mean, you got Glenwood getting ready to face Beulah. Last year, it was just a battle back and forth, just an offensive battle, and it was just a huge scoring output. Now, Glenwood has their homecoming at Sammy Howard Field, taking on their region rival, Beulah. And as far as Kendrick, they get ready to take on Hardaway. Hopefully they can snap that 2-game losing streak. They do face a winless Hardaway next week. But, yeah, the teams have been playing fantastic, and we can't wait. But how about that win for Calvary Christian, getting the 22-7 win over Flint River?
Yes, Richard. Thank you for teasing that one. As Flint River, who had made it this championship the last 2 years, dominated Calvary the last 2 years, and the Calvary Christian Knights go in there and get a big win over a really good Flint River program that have not lost a regular season game since 2022, and Calvary wins a defensive battle. There was 9-7 at one point. They ended up winning it 22-7, did not give up a point in the second half, and I'm telling you, Coach Brunson's team look every bit as a team that can contend for a GIAA state championship. This was a big test for them to go on the road and to beat Flint River like that, 22-7. Huge win for Calvary Christian, and then a big win for Shaw. They needed it. There was them and Hardaway Whoever lost, their season was pretty much done. The winner has a chance to make the playoffs, and that was Shaw. They won 32-14. They go to 1-3 on the season, and they still have everything in front of them, and they have a legitimate chance to get to 500 and make the playoffs. So Shaw with a big win over Hardaway, and Calvary with a massive win. And in 2 weeks, they'll be at home this Friday, and they'll be again at home in the next Friday as they take on potentially the number 1 team in the state in Brookstone.
Yeah, Shaw getting a big region win. Now they got to go to Americus to take on Sumter County next week. And then in 2 weeks, they'll face Columbus. So Shaw has everything in front of them to get a playoff berth. Calvary takes on Georgia Southwest STEM Charter at home. I expect them to win that game and to go to 5-0. And can you imagine? We could have an undefeated Calvary and an undefeated Brookstone facing off against each other. Right now, Calvary is ranked 10th. And I'm guessing that they're going to continue to climb up in the rankings. They have proven in year 2 in the GIAA that they are a playoff team. And just let's see how far Coach Brunson's bunch can make it. They just got to continue winning these games, and that's what Calvary's been doing. And they've just had a fantastic season so far.
They have had a great season to start, and they're undefeated. We'll take a break. When we come back, rankings time here on the late night edition of the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. We'll be right back after this.
For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long distance love. For the farsighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
Imagine making your dreams a reality, achieving your goals and aspirations, and having a financial partner that understands your dreams never sleep. At Kinetic Credit Union, we're more than just a bank. We're 40,000 members strong with local service, personal connections, and a nationwide network. Leading-edge technology to help you make financial decisions easier, smarter, and safer. We are Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
It's a great day for a new Chevrolet from Glenn Smith in Opelika. Silverado and Colorado trucks ready to roll. Get going in a powerful new full-size Chevrolet Silverado with discounts up to $13,500 off. Drive away in the mid-size Chevy Colorado ready for work or play. Discounted up to $4,000 off. People from all over the USA are going to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Get ready to drive and get ready to smile.
Real recognize real. Real taste, unmistakably Sprite. Real refreshment, crisp lemon lime. Sprite, obey your thirst.
Imagine making your dreams a reality, achieving your goals and aspirations, and having a financial partner that understands your dreams never sleep. At Kinetic Credit Union, we're more than just a bank. We're 40,000 members strong with local service, personal connections, and a nationwide network. Leading-edge technology to help you make financial decisions easier, smarter, and safer. We are Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
back to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. It's time now. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's ruffle some feathers. It's time for those power rankings. So, number 10, the Cherokees of Kendrick. I was leaning more towards Northside, but I understand why we left Kendrick in there, as they are a team that Richard 2-2. We're not going to penalize them for losing to two good teams in Crawford and Sumter County, but the Cherokees are holding on to they're on thin ice right now, and breathing down their neck is Northside. Number 9, making their way back in. I told you they were creeping. Creep, TLC, baby. Spencer coming in number 9, 1-3 on the season, and I think this team will be 7-3, 6-4 worse by the end of the year. And Pacelli got a bye. They got a big one this week on the road at Whitefield, and Whitfield, excuse me. And Pacelli comes in 2-2. GIAA rankings have them number 4 and looking like a team that could play in the semifinals. Bobby Gary's back, and Pacelli's number 8, Spencer number 9, Kendrick number 10.
Yeah, I like where the teams are ranked. Pacelli at 2-2, and the GIAA has rewarded them with a high ranking because of the teams they lost to in FPD and Stratford Academy. I know Bobby Gary's back, but Dustin Sherman's done a great job holding down the fort as the backup quarterback. Fresh off a bye, taking on Whitefield Academy on the road, and they'll be back at home hosting Calvary Christian. But this Pacelli team, so far, I like where they're at number 8. Spencer, you can never count them out. They're going to run the table. They got the next Jordan and Kendrick are their next opponents before they play Sumter County. Kendrick they have a chance to snap a 2-game losing streak next Thursday when they take on Hardaway. Hardaway has not won a game yet. If Kendrick wants to try to get one of those wins, that's a place where they can try to pick up a win there. And I agree with you, Thrift. I would have been okay with putting Northside in the rankings just because of the way they played against Carver.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, man. So glad that we were able to get them in there, the top 10, and then coming in at number 7, Harris County. They dropped just because the teams in front of them got some big wins. Columbus, we think they deserve it. They're 3-0. They deserve to be at number 6. They got a massive test against Carver coming up. And then in the top 5 for the first time, Calvary, big win over Flint River. They should be number 5. They're at 4-0. So Calvary 5, Columbus 6, Harris County 7, Rich.
I like where the rankings are. Calvary deserving of being in the top 5. They are ranked 10th according to the GIAA, and they face Southwest Georgia STEM Charter this Friday. They could be 5-0 with that showdown against Brookstone. Columbus, they are undefeated. They have not made the playoffs since 2015, but they are deserving of being here because of their schedule and getting the wins. And even though they play Carver, they do play Shaw the following week. And they still got Kendrick on the schedule. They still got Hardaway in the Midtown Showdown. They've got winnable games, and I can see Columbus making the playoffs. Harris County, what a win against Doherty 2 weeks ago. They had a bye. Now they're playing a Jonesboro team that they should have won on the road last year. They felt like they should have won that game. They're going to be out for revenge. Back at Danny Durham Field in Hamilton, taking on Jonesboro. And then after that, they take on Northside at Kinnett Stadium. So Harris County's got everything in front of them to try to make a playoffs.
Yeah, they do. And that Northside game's going to be big, September the 26th. Number 4, Glenwood, 3-1. They look like a team that's going to, between them, Randolph County, and Lee Scott, who's going to, 2 of those 3 teams will make the playoffs. And for that region, I think Glenwood's going to be one of them. And I think they have every bit of chance to go 7-3 and 8-2 this year. And they're starting to play really good football since that opening half against Valley. Richard, this team has been coming and hitting on all cylinders. Another dominant win against Childersburg. Number 3, Russell County. How about the Warriors? Undefeated, 4-0 to start the year. And Dylan Griggs' team, led by Bryson Riggins, and the defense looks great. They look like a team that could finish undefeated. Their biggest game, I think, is at Valley. And then Pike Road, they play at home for a region championship coming up in October. Number 2, Brookstone, they're the favorite in the GIAA. They're one of the favorites to win it all in our area. They come in at number 2. Ian Headley's team, the only 5-0 team that we have in our area. And then the number 1 team, they got battle tested, but still able to win that by 19. The Carver Tigers come in at number 1.
I admit that I overhyped Carver last week, saying that this could be the best Carver team of all time. And I think that they got a little humbled because Northside was coming in and they had the game plan to try to take it to Carver, especially in that first half. This Carver team is still great, and they're going to fix the mistakes I think they're going to end up running the table and beating everybody that's on their schedule, getting into the playoffs and winning another state championship. We ranked Brookstone 2 over Russell County because we feel that Brookstone has an easier path to their state championship. Russell County is still in 6A. They did receive votes. Hopefully they'll crack that top 10 for the 6A poll for the Alabama Writers Association. But Russell County, if they get into the playoffs, they still got to face Spanish Fort. They still got to face Theodore, Hueytown. They still got to face Saraland, Clay Chalkville. There's so much talent in 6A. I think the path is a little bit tougher for Russell County. I think Glenwood's biggest test, besides Wadley, which, by the way, got moved to a Thursday night, it's a non-region game, but Wadley is the defending single-A champions. I think their biggest test is Lee Scott. This Lee Scott Academy team beat Beulah 72-16 at Beulah. This Lee Scott team is going to give Glenwood a run for their money. I actually think this Beulah team lost a lot of talent from last year's team.
Oh, and I think Glenwood's going to dominate them. And the problem is we got a wide open schedule this Friday, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to get back to over to the stomping ground and see the Gators host Beulah, but they're going to have I don't think they're going to have their hands full, but they will in 2 weeks when they have to go to Randolph County. All right, there's our rankings. You see it here. There's 1 through 10. If you don't agree, leave us a comment. Tell us why you disagree. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. Let us know. Share it. Tell everyone about it and be a part of the rankings that we always do. What we're going to do is take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about where we're going to be at this week and preview more on the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show. Be right back after this.
Are you looking for a powerful new Chevrolet or GMC truck and a great deal? Check them out side by side at Glenn Smith in Opelika. Take your choice of new Chevrolet and GMC 1500 trucks discounted up to $12,000 off. Chevy and GMC heavy-duty trucks discounted up to $7,000 off. People from all over the USA save at Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. Get ready to smile.
I'm always on the go. But with the Kinetic Credit Union app, Kinetic is always with me. The Kinetic mobile app is virtual banking at its best. With the Kinetic mobile app, I can easily send and receive money, make a deposit, pay some bills, and I can even open up a new account, all from my phone. And I can monitor all my accounts in one place, all on the go. The Kinetic mobile app, energized banking at its best.
Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
At Jack Houston Memorial Hospital, our focus is you. Even though we performed more than 1,300 joint replacements last year, we treat you like you are our only patient. Your surgeon explains your joint replacement, so nothing is a surprise. Our team knows your treatment plan, and we work together to get you back on your feet again. That's why our hospital is recognized year after year as a leader in patient satisfaction and quality of care. Jack Houston Memorial Hospital. Excellence, always.
Even though I'm away at college, Kinetic Credit Union is still the best way for me to stay connected here and at home. With the Kinetic mobile app, I have control of my accounts wherever I go. I can easily transfer money between internal and external accounts, get money faster by setting up recurring transfers, and I can find the nearest ATM or branch right from my phone. Plus, I can add my Kinetic cards to my phone's digital wallet and enjoy quick, secure, contactless payments. By the way, Mom, I need some more money.
Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Richard Holdridge, Thrift Behringer, and we got a great show in store. We have been talking power rankings. We, of course, went over where we were been this past week, Richard. So glad that we were able to talk about that. All right, let's wrap up the show where we're going to be this week. We got Loganville Christian Academy coming to Calvary. Calvary, one of the top softball teams in the area. Jeff Halstead seemed undefeated. You'll be there for that, Richard.
Yeah.
Then we'll also have Brookstone softball as well. Then on Tuesday, we got multiple volleyball games, including Pacelli Brookstone once again, number 1 versus number 2, battling it out, Richard. So cannot wait for that. Then we got Glenwood Tri-Match. Then we have Tommy Watson Coach Show, Calvary Coach Show, Glenwood Coach Show on Monday. Wednesday, Brookstone Coach Show, Pacelli Coach Show, Office Hours, and Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thursday, Calvary at Pacelli Volleyball, Shaw at Columbus. That is probably for a region championship in softball. Northside Harris County, maybe for a region championship in softball.
Sir.
And then we got Smith Station flag football. And then Friday, 4 football games. Southwest Georgia STEM taking on Calvary. We got Opelika at Smith Station, Jonesboro at Harris County, and Beulah at Glenwood. And then on Saturday, we got Columbus at Calvary to wrap it up. So busy week here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and we may even add a 5th game in Columbus and Carver as well.
Possibly. I cannot wait. We just love covering these teams just throughout the week, and I'm excited just to have a busy week.
Yeah, I am too, man. So thank y'all again for tuning in. Appreciate y'all joining us. Make sure to share it, like it. We'll be back on Wednesday, as always, to talk about softball and volleyball power rankings and talk about those 4 football games. We'll preview them and more. And eventually we'll have a gaslighting show in which we'll talk some college football and pro. Don't forget, we have a new podcast, too, that we're joining called The Platform Podcast, West Georgia, East Alabama edition. Me and Richard are national scouts for DR7, and we're talking about some of the top players in this area. We can't wait for that to drop again this week. So we'll be on the lookout for that and more. So, Rich, thank you so much. As always, man, appreciate y'all watching. Thanks to Coke, Glenn Smith, Kinetic, and Houston Clinic. We'll see you next time on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show.